It is no secret that Mario is widely considered the king of platformers. Very rarely does another platformer give the Nintendo mascot a run for their money as the best platformer on its respective console. But much like they did on the Super Nintendo with the Donkey Kong Country series, Rare stepped up their game and provided Nintendo with a worthy rival for best 3D platformer on the Nintendo 64 in the form of Banjo-Kazooie. How well do the bear and bird combo match up to the king of platformers? And how well has this game held up since its original release? Let's take a quick walk through memory lane and find out. Banjo-Kazooie is a 3D platformer adventure game with an emphasis on collection. Each world you go into has a set number of jigsaw puzzles which allow you to open up new worlds, and musical notes which allow you to travel deeper through Gruntilda's lair. Within many of the worlds, you learn new techniques that allow for new forms of travel, offensive and defensive maneuverability. What made Banjo-Kazooie unique was that it was one of the first platformers to freely let you explore its areas, and even when you completed an objective to grab a Jiggy, you won't be teleported out of the level, allowing you to continue collecting the remaining puzzle pieces or musical notes in the world. Banjo-Kazooie was one of the first 3D platformers that did away with fixed objectives, and instead allowed you to free roam around the worlds. And while the levels themselves aren't necessarily the largest, their openness and vastness makes them feel larger than what they are. The environments of the worlds also lend themselves brilliantly into the exploration aspect of the game. Breaking windows to get into certain sections of the map, freeing characters allows for more exploration even within said characters. Each level is designed to feel distinct, not just in setting, but how you get your puzzle pieces. The first level serves as a way for you to test around your offensive capabilities and maneuverability, and is pretty basic. But as you progress, not only do the levels and ways of acquiring Jiggies increase in difficulty, but so does the intricacies of the levels. The game controls and feels really great. Flying does take a bit to get used to and is tricky at first, but once you get the hang of it, it doesn't feel as weird. Within certain levels, you can transform into different forms by the form of Mumbo Jumbo's magic. These transformations do spice up the gameplay a bit, and because of how spread out they are, they never feel like they drag the flow of the game down. The story of Banjo-Kazooie starts as Tooty, the sister of Banjo, runs towards Banjo's house so that they can go on an adventure. The evil witch Gruntilda, upset that she's not the prettiest in the land, swoops down to kidnap Tooty and steal her looks for her own, prompting Banjo and his pal Kazooie to go into Grunty's lair and rescue Tooty. The plot of the game is very straightforward: go into the lair and rescue the sister. But what really stands out are the characters. They aren't deep or well developed by any means, but they are charming as all heck. Gruntilda's mockery of you in rhymes will never get old, and honestly, even helps motivate you to push forward and defeat her. The titular characters, Banjo and Kazooie, are also alright. Banjo being the easygoing, lazy main hero who is often respectful of others and tries to avoid any conflict, is contrasted with Kazooie, who is one of the greatest smack talkers in video game history, always picking a fight or insulting anyone nearby, which often causes characters who would actually help you out if not for her insults to instead attack you and try to kill you instead. Their personalities often lead to some of the funniest moments in the games, and honestly, it's always a blast to see their interactions. The graphics of Banjo-Kazooie for the time were actually really good. Though they certainly show their age today, they still look fine for a game that's 25 years old. The environments and landscape of each level matches the theme that the team was going for perfectly. The real standout of the game, however, has to go to its musical score. It cannot be stated enough just how fantastic the music in Banjo-Kazooie is. Grant Kirkhope delivers a masterclass from the relaxing Spiral Mountain theme to the challenging tune of the Rusty Bucket Bay, or even the lively music of Click Clock Wood. Kirkhope took the theme that each level was going for and created a spectacular soundtrack to accommodate it. There is no track that feels inferior or out of place in the game. Add to it the various different sounds that the game can go for. One of the biggest examples being Click Clock Wood, as the spring theme, summer theme, fall theme, and winter theme is very reflective of the season it's in, and is honestly one of the biggest standouts of the game. Banjo-Kazooie does have some minor issues that can affect your enjoyment of the game. The biggest offender being the camera. With the precise platforming that the game calls for, especially in the later levels, the camera being placed in awkward positions can often lead to some unexpected deaths that aren't any fault of your own. The other bigger issue, or not bigger issue, but one annoying issue is anytime you leave a world, while they do say that they keep track of your high musical score, the musical notes actually reset, so if you're going for a completionist run, it can be a little bit hard to keep track of which notes you had already collected and which ones you hadn't. Even after 25 years and various other platformers being released, Banjo-Kazooie still stands out as one of the finest 3D platformers that has ever been created, and has a very legitimate claim of being the best platformer on the Nintendo 64. Its tight controls, fantastic level design, amazing soundtrack complement the silly nature of the game's story and its protagonists. It is an amazing game that is always fun to revisit and will never fail to put a smile on your face.